So let me show you everything we're going to be using. We're actually going to be making a scarecrow. Okay, we're going to be making a scarecrow. I'm going to tell you where I found these things. And I think this project, it's a no-sew project. First off, it's a no-sew project. And I think it would be such a cute project for like a family craft. Maybe you want to make something. The reason I'm bringing this up is a lot of the kids here where I live in Texas are on fall break next week. And even myself, I was thinking, well, what could I do with the grandkids? Like, is there something fun that we could make? This might be a project that would be really good, I think, for kids. Also, again, just family fun. If you wanted to get the whole family involved in making something. So these are the items I'm going to be using. I'm using a square of fabric, and this square is 14 by 14. As we start making these, you may realize that they don't have to be quite that big. We're just going to kind of play around with it, and then you can decide, because we're going to also be using these. These are little styrofoam cones. I guess you would call it a cone, styrofoam cones that I picked up at the dollar store. Okay, these were from the dollar store, from the Dollar Tree to be exact. They were $1.25, and so these measure 6.9 by 2.9, so roughly 7 by 3. But I plan to cut these down. So if you wanted, as we're making our scarecrows, if you wanted to, they don't all have to be the same height. Okay, so that's why I kind of hesitate a little bit on telling you that you need a big, huge square of fabric. You do if it's going to stay, the taller, but if we cut it down, right, if we kind of cut them to different heights, then you won't necessarily need this big a piece of fabric. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so fabric, remnants, fall colors is what I would choose, fall theme or fall colors, using these little cones from the Dollar Tree. And then I also picked these up at the Dollar Tree. Now, I saw these a couple weeks ago, and I just thought they're just too cute to pass up. It's a set of 2, and they're little scarecrow heads. Okay, it's a set of 2 little scarecrow heads. Super cute. This was I'm assuming, I think it was like $1.25 for both of them. Now, even if you don't have a Dollar Tree near you, there are, and look, they have different color hats. I know I picked up a few because I think this will be fun for me to do with my grandkids. There's some really cute ones, different colors. Yellow hat. They're really, really cute. So even if you don't have a Dollar Tree near you, check any of your craft stores. A lot of craft stores have cute little things like this, little fall scarecrow heads and different things on picks that you can put into arrangements. So these, even if they're a little smaller, again, I think they'll be fine because you can cut these down to whatever size you want them to be. Okay. Now, the other thing I'm going to be using today is, it might be helpful to have a few pennies. Yes, I said pennies, like as in actual pennies. Okay, as actual pennies here, because even though the cones actually stand really well, they are lightweight. So I'm going to put like 3 pennies on the bottom. It's just going to give it just a little bit of weight so that we don't have any trouble with it falling over. Okay, so, and pennies are a great way to do that, in a very inexpensive weight. You could use something else if you want. So that would be fine as well. So the little cones are little scarecrow heads, some fabric, and then, of course, I'm going to have my hot glue gun on. I'm also going to be using some jute here. You might want to use some ribbon, any other kind of fall accessory kinds of things. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut away the plastic that's on these. I honestly think these would be cute even with like circles. They could be like, have little fat bodies. That would be really cute too. But I thought the cones were really perfect for this. Okay, you can see right there. All right, so I'm going to make one of these. I'm going to go ahead and cut them down a little bit, and it's just styrofoam. Okay, it's just styrofoam. So we can just kind of cut off the top of this one, And then I'm going to bring this one down a little lower. Just kind of cuts through. You could use a craft knife if you want to, your scissors, whatever. And it doesn't have to be a super even cut. So see how now I have two different sizes? If I can get rid of this. I'm going to be covered in these little styrofoam pellets by the time after you cut these. Yeah. So I've got them cut and I went ahead and cut them at slightly different sizes just so that you can see. You can kind of vary the heights. You can do all the things. So let's work with the tallest one first. And I'm going to go ahead and use this fabric, I think. Actually, let me think about it. Should my tall one be the sunflowers or the pumpkins? The pumpkins are pretty cute. Yes. I think let's do the pumpkins. I really love the sunflowers too. Let's start with the pumpkins. All right, we'll start with the pumpkins because we are going to be gathering this up. It's not like you're going to see, you know, you're really seeing more of the colors, right? I'm actually going to be covering this up. So the first thing I'm going to do though is I want to put a few little weights on the bottom of my cone here. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you. If you're in the Fabric Fan Club, you may have these fabrics already in your stash. If you've been in the club with us for a while. All right. I think 3 is going to be plenty. Do y'all ever use pennies as weights? Anybody ever do that? Use pennies as weights? Yeah, it's pretty easy to do. And I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue here for these. Hot glue and styrofoam don't naturally mix well, but I just need these to kind of temporarily hold on because I'm about to cover this with fabric. So using a little bit of hot glue is going to be fine for this particular project. Okay, so there we go. 3 pennies, 3 cents. And that's going to help weight down my foam. Okay, my little styrofoam cone. Okay, yeah, I use pennies a lot. It's just an easy thing, right? If you ever have something that's kind of unlevel, stick a penny under one side. Like I said, it's the cheapest weight that you can use. Okay. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a little bit of hot glue. You can put down a little bit of hot glue on top of each of the pennies. And then I'm going to just kind of stick this in the somewhat center of my fabric piece. Okay. Now this fabric piece right now is cut 14 by 14. But again, it's going to vary depending on the height, right? The heights that you decide to use. And I think these little scarecrow heads are just going to be so cute on this project. Okay. So what's next? You guys ready? You've never thought to use pennies. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, now you guys can all walk away from this craft and chat with that one very valuable crafty tip. Okay. All right. So again, I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue. You could use some pins, I guess, if you wanted to, since it is styrofoam. I'm just going to use some hot glue. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue just right up here at the top. And I'm going to start with the sides first. And you can see my side doesn't go quite all the way up, which is okay. That's going to be fine. So I need to bring my hot glue down a little bit. I'm just going to get enough there to just kind of hold that. And same thing over here on this side. So just the sides, not the corners, the sides. And it's okay if it's not in there exactly in the center. It's going to be fine. It's going to look like that to start. Now I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. So again, I'm not pulling the corners up. I'm pulling the side up. And this side up. So do your middles basically first, and we'll do the corners after. Okay, so by doing this, because we know our corners are going to be taller, Okay, so I know it looks kind of funny. I'll just kind of show you. I know it looks kind of funny, but it's going to look kind of like this. Okay, each one of these that I'm holding out is a corner. Okay, there's a corner. So now we have all of our corners here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to open the corner. All right, so like here's a corner. See how I'm going to kind of open it up? And I'm going to open up this corner. And I'm going to open up this corner. Just pull it up to the top. If you feel like you need some glue, you could use some glue during this step, but I'm not sure you'll really need it. Okay. So basically this just helps you to get everything up, and then I'm just going to take my hands around all of this. Okay, and see how it's going to look gathered. Just going to look kind of gathered all the way around, and you can kind of mess with it. You can kind of play with the folds. We just don't want to see any raw edges. So just kind of fold in any raw edges that you see. I see one right here. So we don't want to see any of those raw edges. Just bringing it right up to the top. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to use, and this is just, it's just handy, okay, is a rubber band. So if you have a rubber band, if you have a pack of like the little ponytail holders, you know, just something like that, I'm going to take this now and just wrap this around. So I'm around the cone, and I'll show you that. You only really just, I'm just going to do it once here. So I'm going to show you that I can still see my cone in there. Okay, so your rubber band is going down past that, the cone. It's not just the fabric. Okay, now we've got a lot of extra fabric here. There's a couple different things that we could do. If you want to fold these down, you can. I feel like it's a lot because we're going to have some fun stuff happening on our little heads here. So I think for this one, I'm just going to just take my scissors, right, and just cut across the top. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, but I still have, I don't know, what is that? Maybe half an inch or so, 3/4 of an inch in there. There's my styrofoam. So I still like having this little ruffle, right? I like having this little ruffle kind of going around the top. And again, you can still, because it's the rubber band, you can still come in and you can kind of pull things and you know, work with your little all your little kind of pleats. Play with this one right here. Okay, so this is going to be our body, and because we have the pennies down here, it's going to stand very, very nicely. Now, I don't want to see this rubber band. I'm, you know, I mean, yeah, it's okay, but it's not anything cute. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take my jute here, and I'm going to wrap the jute around, okay, where the rubber band is. That way it just gets completely covered up. And I'm going to start with kind of a long tail because I'll decide exactly, you know, where I want this to go. Now, this could also be ribbon. Okay, we'll do jute on this one, but it could be ribbon. So I'm just going to wrap around and around and around until I don't see my rubber band anymore. And you can make this as thick as you want. Okay, it could be as thick as you want. And then you're going to try to decide what you want to be the front of your scarecrow. Okay, so you see that just wrapped around so you don't see the rubber band. Okay, so choose a ribbon that's wide enough for that, or if you're going to do the jute, just wrap it a few times. Okay, you could use jute, you could use twine, anything like that. And now I'm just going to tie it off in a knot. And I want you to tie it off in a knot wherever you want it to be the front of your scarecrow. Actually, I'm going to tie mine off in a bow. Maybe I want a bow. So once I have my bow tied, hang on, I got to fuss with it. Okay. Once you have your bow tied, I'm going to put a little drop of hot glue underneath the knot of the bow. And that way I know everything's going to stay nice and secure and in place. So I'll take my tails here, tie these off in a knot. You can let it be as long as you want. Cut it off a little below the knot and then unravel it below the knot. Just cute that way. Looks like a little tassel. So if this is your first time watching me, hello and welcome to my page, Miss Tracy Creates. I am streaming right now on Facebook and also over on YouTube. I see Lynn's watching over on YouTube. Hello, Lynn. I see several of you watching on Facebook. Yeah, you could cut the top with pinking shears, Jane. That's a really good idea. Absolutely, you could. Okay, so just a cute little bow right here on the top. Okay, now then we have to choose. I think I'm going to go with this one for this particular fabric. So here's my little scarecrow head. So cute. Bought at the Dollar Tree. And I don't do a lot of Dollar Tree type crafts, but I just couldn't. How could you pass up a couple of these really cute little scarecrows? I just think they're adorable. And again, they had different color hats. There's even one here with like a denim hat with black and white check and the sunflowers. I just thought that was so cute. So I think I'm going to use this one on this particular one. Now, these dowel rods are pretty in there. Okay, they're pretty in there, but they're a little long. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just snap it. Okay, sometimes it's hard to cut your, to use scissors for that, but I'm just going to snap it off because I'm going to push this down into my styrofoam. All right, so here we go. He's so cute. He's even got a cute little bow and a leaf on his hat. All right, actually, I'm going to have to look at it. Sorry, let me look at it. Make sure I'm getting it in here fairly straight. And I'm going to push, 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 push. Now, all of this, your little ruffle, right? Your little ruffle, this is where you can kind of play with the ruffle. And if you feel like it's too much, too big of a ruffle, then we can always come back in, pull the head back up a little bit, the scarecrow head back up a little bit, the little pick, and play with that. I think I kind of like my ruffle though. I think my ruffle's looking pretty cute here. I think I'm going to pull my scarecrow head up just slightly. I like his little bow. I'm going to cut a little splice into my ruffle here. And I'll turn him around in just a second. So I don't know. Maybe I don't need the bow on the front of his body. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's too much bow action going on. What do you guys think? Now I can still embellish. I still have some ways that I can come in and embellish here. So, but I mean, just in general, isn't he cute? Like he's just so cute. And the fact that we can have different sizes and different things. So I also pulled out of my stash a few I have some little sunflowers here. I'll show you. Just some fun little artificial stuff. Little berries are on this, a few little leaves, things like that. Let's just pull off a few things. Okay. So let's embellish him a little bit. If I wanted to, now I could put a little sunflower like right there. I think that actually looks really cute. And I'm going to cut down this. Let me use my craft scissors for this. I'm going to cut down the little plasticky thing on the back. That's cute. Okay. So we could just have some fun with him. If there's anything extra that you want to add, here's some little berries. And this is a great way to kind of use up some things maybe that are in your fall stash. Oh, I kind of like the berries up on his hat. Let's just pop some berries on this leaf. And that's it. I mean, he's actually, it's that simple, right? It's that simple. Now, you could do something like bottles for this or jars, but the reason I kind of strayed from that is because they're breakable. So it's like, well, the foam just is so easy. Plus the pick, right? The wood dowel from the head just goes in there really nice and firm. Okay. Aren't they cute? All right, let's make another one. We're going to make another one here because I want you to see them in different sizes. Oh, and then, of course, when you get them wherever you're going to arrange them, think how cute they'd be dressed up on a table or a tier tray. They could be a cute little hostess gift at Thanksgiving or a teacher gift, or just all the things. But if you wanted to, you could even take it a little further and maybe add a few fall leaves, right? Kind of around the bottom of him, that kind of thing as well. Okay. All right, let's do another one. Let's do this. Let's do the sunflowers. Want to do the sunflower one? Let's do the sunflower one. Okay, now again, this is probably going to be bigger than I really need it to be because, yeah, I cut this one down shorter. Remember, I want you to see how cute they look if they're not all the same size. You could do a whole little family, right? That would be adorable. Okay, so let me just kind of gauge how much. Yeah, I'm not going to need this much fabric for this one. So, and again, this doesn't have to be true measurements. I do think a square works well. Okay. So I'm just cutting a couple of inches off of two sides. And I think this will be plenty to cover this one. So if you came on late, you get to watch this happen again. I'm going to use pennies as weights for the bottom. Okay. Just a few pennies because these are styrofoam cones, so they are a little bit lightweight. Okay. Now I'm going to put hot glue on the pennies. And I'm just going to somewhat center this in my square. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is not one of those projects where everything has to be precise. You can take the leftover sticks and make him some arms. Oh, I could. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. He could have some cute little arms. Oh, I love that idea. Yes, he could have cute little arms, and his arms could be going any which way. Also, even like little branches, like just from outside, if you have little branches that you can trim off trees or bushes, that'd be cute too, if you want him to have some arms. Yes, I like that. Okay, so the next step, again, just want to remind you, don't use the corners yet. Use the middle of the sides. Do you see how I'm going right here and here? I'm going to use the middle part first. It's always going to be the shorter part. And I'm going to do, again, a little bit of hot glue. You don't need to use much hot glue because it is styrofoam. Styrofoam and hot glue don't always work very well together, but we just kind of need a quick temporary hold, right? So again, center. And this center, and you can see that I clearly did not get mine in the exact center. which is okay. So now we have all the corners here. Okay. Oh, that worked out perfectly. It's standing perfectly. So we have our corners. You're going to open the corner. All right. Open the corner and just bring it up to the top. So we're going to open each corner. No glue this time. Just bring it up to the top. Okay. And it's just to kind of help you get them kind of evenly arranged. And then you're going to start just kind of bring your hands up. And then I just start playing with the folds. I just want to make sure that I don't see any raw edges and that my my cone is covered. Right? See, like I don't want to see that. So I'm going to turn it. Just kind of making your own little pleats and whatnot. Just kind of fuss with it. Gathered up. I think that looks pretty good. And then this is where your rubber band will come into play. If you have your rubber band, and I think I have another one here somewhere. What did I do with my other rubber band? All right, Susan, I need another rubber band from up front. I swear I had two of them. Thank you, my lovely assistant. Luckily, she's one wall over from me, so she can hear me. Oh, what would I do? What would I do without my helpers? What would I do without my team? Okay, I see one more spot I need to fix right over here before I wrap this up. Yeah, this one right here. Oops. Yeah, make sure and check all the sides. Okay, I think we're good now. So I'm going to take my rubber band. And I'm just using a regular rubber band. If you wanted to use, you know, like ponytail holders or whatever, it's just nice. It holds everything well. And then you can kind of come in and play around with the folds, right? Like if you realize you've got more on one side than the other, you want to kind of move things around. It's nice because it still holds it nice and tight, right? Very easy to do. Okay, I think this is looking pretty cute. I think I'm going to keep this as the front side. I love that you can see all the sunflowers so cutely. Again, if you wanted to keep these long, you can. I feel like they're a little too long, so I'm going to, again, just kind of cut straight across. And yes, Jane mentioned using pinking shears. You could use pinking shears if you want to. So there is my foam. So you're going to make sure your ruffle is still taller than your foam. Okay. Now I'm going to, let's do this one with some ribbon. I think I've got, let's do some ribbon for this one. Let's see if I have enough of this. So I'm going to use some of this. And again, this is wide enough to cover up my rubber band. Let's see. I want to be my front. So it could be ribbon, it could be jute, it can be whatever you want it to be. Just make sure it's covering. Oh, this one's not quite long enough. I want the tails to be longer. Let me grab a little bit more. I've got another spool of this right here. I was hoping that scrap piece would be long enough. Okay. So, are you going to make a scarecrow? Is anybody else going to make scarecrows this week with me? Don't you see how this could be a fun family craft? I think this could be a really, really fun family craft. Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, I'm just going to cut a little cute little end on those. Okay, scarecrow body. Yes, again, if we want to use the, we could use the heads. Okay, so I could go with the red hat, or I could, oops, I could go with the yellow hat. What should we do? Should we go yellow hat or red hat? I'm kind of leaning towards the red hat just because I like this little plaid. I like this little plaid ribbon that's on this one. All right, let's use this one. I mean, they're so cute, right? And I didn't have to craft a thing for those, for these. All right, so I'm just going to snap it. Just break that part off. And again, we can use the sticks for arms if you want. That was a really good suggestion. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue. This hat is trying to lift up a little bit. I'm going to put a little hot glue right here. Little plastic thingy, get that out. Okay. So now all I have to do is push this down into the body, the styrofoam cone. Pull out the bow pieces. It's just adorable. Pull out the raffia for the scarecrow's hair here. So cute. It's so, so, so cute. All right, I think I'm going to go down a little further and pull this out to the side. I'm just fussing at this point. You guys know about fussing, right? Where we're just fussing over the little details. Yeah. Okay. And I really like the sunflowers on them. I really like the sunflowers on them, so I'll finish, but I just want you to see the heights. So isn't that cute? So you can actually just cut the styrofoam down to be whatever height you want it to be. Let me add a couple little fun things here. So if you were going to use the sticks as arms, because we use the fabric, you're going to have to use like a craft knife to kind of puncture the fabric. But once you've done that, I mean, you'll be all set, because that's all you just need to just make a little slit in the fabric, just use a craft knife, and then you can put in your stick arms. So cute. Got some more berries here. Put a few berries down, coming down from this one. acorns, berries, leaves, sunflowers, you know, all the fun little things of fall. Oops, I need another glue stick. And there we have it. More little berries. You can add more leaves, whatever else that you want to add. And of course, we can add some arms. All right. Isn't that cute? Okay. Do you want me to add some arms? Do you want me to add an arm? Because I do love the idea of using the broken sticks, right? The parts that we broke off for the arms. So again, we just have to cut. We're going to have to cut a little slit. Let's see if I can do it with my scissors. I bet I can. Let's do it on the big one. All right. So if I just take my scissors here and kind of work in. Oh, yeah. Easy. Okay. That was very, very easy. There we go. So if you want him to have some arms. Oh, did I make it too low? I think I did. Let's bring his arms up a little higher. Okay, so I'm just kind of stabbing my scissors through that. It's working. Yeah. I'm just trying to decide how angled. Okay, there's one. I still think they might need to be up higher. Okay, well, I'll play with that. I still think they need to be up a little higher. Does that seem too low? Or does it matter? It probably doesn't even matter. Okay. Where I'm puncturing is inside my folds, so you can't even tell that I've cut through the fabric at all. Except for I didn't cut all the way through this little section. Yeah, make sure you cut through all of it. There. Okay, I'm gonna go about right there. I mean, they're scarecrow arms. Does it really matter? Probably not. Okay, so same thing on this side. I'm kind of going into the folds. Cute. All right, if you want him to have arms, you can give him arms. They could be branches from outside. These were just the parts that I broke off of the dowels for the head, right? That part right there. Skewers, I think anything like that. If you want him to have some little arms. And everybody's arms and could be going different directions, but I just think they're precious. I think they're so cute. Aren't they fun? They're like my little fall friends. My little fall friends. So this is Craft and Chat today. I wanted to show you something that was super easy, very, I'm going to say family friendly, in case you also have kids off on fall break next week and just want to have a little fun with them, crafting for the holidays. They'll be so adorable, again, as table decorations. They could hold little banners. They could do all kinds of things. You could put them on your tiered trays. Just stand them around. Just stand them around wherever you want them to be. I think they're precious. I think they're just so, so cute. And as I mentioned, you could literally like make little families just by cutting them down, right? Cutting down the styrofoam cones to create different heights. Yes. Yeah, you could tie raffia around the twine. Absolutely, Carolyn. Raffia, jute, twine, ribbon. I mean, whatever it is, you could totally do it. And then as far as embellishing them, I mean, it's just random stuff that you probably already have in your craft stash, right? You probably have some things in your craft stash that you could use for fall, or nothing at all. They're cute even without, the berries and the sunflowers. You could do anything you want. Okay?